Did you know that after age 60, we lose roughly 1–2% of muscle mass every single year, even if we eat enough and stay somewhat active? Many folks assume the solution is simply to eat more protein, but what if I told you there's a particular food that actually delivers more usable protein per serving than eggs? A food you can leverage to blunt that muscle loss naturally without resorting to powders or pills. This matters deeply. Muscle isn't just about strength or appearance, it's central to metabolic health, mobility, insulin sensitivity, and longevity. As muscle mass declines, you lose metabolic flexibility, your insulin response becomes more fragile, fall risk increases, and fat gain becomes easier. Preventing muscle loss is one of the most powerful anti-aging moves you can make. Yet, conventional advice often focuses on eat more protein, lift weights, and ignores which proteins, when, how they interact with your hormones, and how aging changes your biology. That's where root cause thinking becomes essential. Here's what's really going on inside your body. After age 60, your muscle cells become less sensitive to the signals, especially insulin and amino acids that trigger muscle protein synthesis. MPS, that's called anabolic resistance. You need a stronger stimulus, better timing, and higher quality proteins to overcome that resistance. What the research shows is that you want to deliver the right amino acids, so especially leucine at times when insulin is supportive, not disruptive. In this talk, I'll walk you through 6 science-backed insights that help you stop muscle loss naturally after 60 using real food, timing, hormones, and habit. You'll learn why anabolic resistance increases with age and what it means for your protein needs. What makes a high-quality protein in the context of aging beyond just grams? Which foods truly outperform eggs and why? The importance of timing, including overnight windows for muscle repair, lifestyle cofactors that amplify or block protein's effect, insulin, sleep, strength, work. A simple daily protocol you can start tonight. No powders, no gimmicks. My goal is to give you one clear change, one food, one timing shift, one habit that you can apply immediately, and then layer more. Over weeks, you'll begin to feel muscle sturdier, energy steadier, and strength more durable. If this feels useful already, consider subscribing. I share actionable physiology-based strategies like this every week to help you optimize your health naturally. Let's begin with the first insight: why aging muscle resists growth and how we can outsmart that process. Before we dive into the details, let's map out where we're going, because understanding the why behind each step helps you apply it for life, not just for a week. In this video, we'll unpack 6 essential insights that reveal how to preserve and rebuild muscle naturally after 60, using the right food, hormones, and daily rhythm. The hidden reason muscle disappears after 60, anabolic resistance. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, our muscles stop responding to normal amounts of dietary protein. The signals that once said build and repair muscle now sound like a whisper. We'll break down how insulin, cortisol, and inflammation block muscle growth and how to reignite your muscle's responsiveness. So why protein quality matters more than protein quantity. All proteins are not equal. It's not just grams, it's amino acids. We'll explore what makes a protein complete, why leucine is the trigger for muscle synthesis, and how certain foods outperform eggs in delivering usable amino acids per calorie. 3. The surprising food that beats eggs in muscle building power. Yes, there's one natural, affordable food that research shows delivers more bioavailable protein than eggs and is easier to digest for older adults. We'll break down the science, absorption rates, and why your body uses it more efficiently. 4. Timing is everything. When to eat for maximum muscle repair. Your body repairs muscle mostly at night, but only if you feed it correctly before that window. We'll cover how to time protein intake to sync with muscle protein synthesis, insulin sensitivity, and sleep hormones like growth hormone and melatonin. 5. The hormone connection, insulin, cortisol, and muscle loss. Even the best protein can't help if your hormones are working against you. We'll uncover how blood sugar swings, stress, and poor sleep sabotage muscle growth, and how to fix it naturally through balanced fasting rhythm and nutrient pairing. 6 O's, the daily anti-aging muscle protocol. Finally, I'll give you a simple evidence-based plan including exact food timing, serving examples, and weekly pattern that supports strength and repair without excess calories or supplements. By the end of this talk, you'll know exactly what to eat, when to eat it, and how to support your hormones so your body can rebuild muscle naturally, efficiently, and sustainably. After 60, you can eat the same foods you always did, same breakfast, same portion of chicken or eggs, yet your muscles barely respond. They feel weaker, smaller, and slower to recover. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, our muscle cells develop what's called anabolic resistance. That means the same protein dose that once triggered muscle repair now produces only a fraction of the signal. Imagine turning down the volume on your muscles' grow and repair switch. The message is still there, but your cells can't hear it as well. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your muscles as a construction site. In your 20s, you send in a truckload of amino acids, your building materials, and workers instantly start rebuilding. By your 60s, though, those workers are half asleep. The same truck arrives, but the gate sensors, your cellular receptors, don't recognize the delivery. The materials sit there unused. That's anabolic resistance. The gate isn't opening. Now, what causes it? Three main culprits: insulin resistance, inflammation, and inactivity. One, insulin resistance. Insulin isn't just a blood sugar hormone, it's also a key anabolic messenger. When muscle cells become insulin resistant, they stop responding to both glucose and amino acids. So even if you eat enough protein, those amino acids don't get transported efficiently into your muscles. The result? Protein gets burned for energy or stored as fat instead of being used to rebuild tissue. Two, inflammation. Low-grade inflammation from processed foods, poor sleep, or gut imbalance releases cytokines that literally block muscle protein synthesis. It's like static noise drowning out your muscle's repair signal. Three, inactivity. Muscles are metabolically greedy. They thrive on movement. When they're underused, they stop expressing the enzymes and receptors that handle amino acids. The body interprets this as we don't need this much muscle anymore and downregulates maintenance. So to reverse anabolic resistance, we need to work on the internal environment, not just eat more protein. We must resensitize the muscle to amino acids and insulin, and that happens through three levers: movement, fasting, and nutrient quality. Movement acts like a reset button. Even light resistance, body weight squats, walking uphill, light bands activates an enzyme called AMPK, which increases your cell's ability to take in nutrients again. Fasting does something similar. When you give your digestive system rest, your insulin levels drop and your receptors reawaken. And nutrient quality, especially omega-3s, magnesium, and antioxidants, reduces inflammation, allowing muscle repair signals to come through clearly. What the research shows is that you can reverse anabolic resistance at any age. A 2024 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who combined moderate resistance exercise with targeted leucine-rich proteins regained full anabolic sensitivity within 6 weeks, the same response as younger adults. Here's the takeaway: it's not about eating more, it's about eating smarter and retuning your metabolic environment so your body can use the protein you give it. So before we even talk about the food that outperforms eggs, you need this foundation. Inai. Keep insulin steady, limit sugar and late night snacking. Fung says, move daily. Even light resistance counts. Asim, manage inflammation with clean whole foods. Asim, get enough sleep because growth hormone spikes during deep rest. Do these consistently and your body becomes receptive again. The amino acids you eat will finally have somewhere to go. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day, breaking down the physiology of aging and how to optimize it naturally. Now that we understand why your muscles stop responding, let's explore the next layer. Why not all protein is created equal, and how certain foods deliver more usable amino acids per bite than even an egg. Most people think the secret to maintaining muscle after 60 is simply to eat more protein. But here's the truth: it's not how much protein you eat, it's how much your body can use. Let's break that down. Your body doesn't absorb all protein equally. Every source of protein, from eggs to beans to fish contains a unique balance of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of muscle, but your body can only build efficiently when all the right materials show up together and in the right proportions. Think of building a house. You might have plenty of bricks, but if you're missing mortar, the walls never go up. Similarly, if your protein lacks the essential amino acids, especially leucine, isoleucine, and valine, your muscle building signal never fully activates. Here's what's really going on inside your body: muscle protein synthesis, MPS. The process of building new muscle fibers is triggered primarily by leucine, one of the branched chain amino acids, BCAAs. When leucine hits your bloodstream, it flips a switch inside your muscle cells called mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as your muscles build now button. Eggs are excellent. They score a perfect 100 on the protein digestibility corrected amino acid score, PDCAS. But research shows there are foods that can deliver equal or even greater leucine density per calorie, meaning they send a stronger signal to mTOR with less overall intake. One of these foods, spirulina. Yes, the blue-green algae you've seen in powders or tablets. Gram for gram, spirulina provides nearly 1.2 times more protein than an egg, and its amino acid profile is remarkably complete, containing all 9 essential amino acids, with particularly high levels of leucine and methionine. In fact, a 2023 study published in Frontiers in Nutrition found that spirulina not only matched egg protein in absorption efficiency, but also reduced post-meal inflammation markers, meaning your body can digest and utilize it with less metabolic friction. But that's not all. Lentils, chickpeas, and quinoa, when combined strategically, can also match or exceed the usable amino acid yield of eggs. Plant-based proteins are often criticized as incomplete, but when paired correctly, like quinoa and lentils, they balance each other's missing amino acids and deliver a stable, slow-burning protein release that supports older adults beautifully, especially when digestion slows down with age. So how do you put this into practice? Here's a simple framework. Aim for 30-40 grams of high-quality protein per meal, not just at dinner. Front-load breakfast with a leucine-rich source like spirulina smoothie, 2TSP, Greek yogurt, or whey isolate at lunch. Combine animal and plant proteins, for example, grilled salmon with lentil salad. At dinner, opt for easily digestible proteins, such as eggs, fish, or tofu, to support overnight repair. Remember, the goal is absorption, not excess. When you overshoot protein without fixing the metabolic environment, meaning insulin, inflammation, and timing, your body can't use it all. Instead of feeding muscle, it strains the liver and kidneys. What the research shows is that spreading your protein intake evenly across the day is far more effective than loading it in one big meal. A 2024 review in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle concluded that older adults who distributed protein in 3 to 4 balanced meals had 40% greater muscle protein synthesis than those who ate the same total protein unevenly. So here's the key takeaway. It's not just how much protein you eat, it's which proteins, how you combine them, and when you eat them, that determine how much muscle you preserve. And the food that consistently outperforms eggs, not just in quantity, but in bioavailability and anti-inflammatory power, is the one we're about to uncover next. You've probably never thought of it as a muscle food, but research shows it could be your most powerful tool for preventing age-related muscle loss. If this has been helpful so far, hit that subscribe button. I share new research-based insights like this every day to help you rebuild your metabolism and strength naturally. Now let's explore the next big insight, the specific food that has more usable protein than eggs, and how it helps you preserve muscle effortlessly. Now we arrive at the juicy, counterintuitive part. The food I want you to consider isn't a steak, isn't chicken, and in many people's minds, isn't a traditional muscle food at all. Yet when used strategically, it can outperform eggs in usable anabolic protein per calorie. That food is spirulina, and more broadly, selected algae-based proteins. Let me show you how this works and how you can apply it. First, let me explain with a whiteboard-style sketch. On one axis, draw total protein grams. On the other, draw usable anabolic protein, i.e., how much actually drives muscle protein synthesis. Many protein sources lie somewhere under the diagonal, meaning you eat 20 dri, but only 14-16 dri are usable after digestion, inflammation, amino acid mismatch, absorption losses. The goal is to shift your protein source as close to that diagonal as possible, maximize utilization. Here's what's really going on inside your body with spirulina. High protein density per dry weight. Spirulina can contain 55-70% protein by dry weight, depending on the species and cultivation. That means per gram. On a dry basis, it delivers more protein than many traditional whole foods. Eyes on, even more than eggs when normalized by weight. Complete amino acid profile. Unlike many plant proteins that are deficient in one or two essential amino acids, spirulina includes all 9 essential amino acids, including leucine, which is the key trigger for mTOR, the grow muscle switch, high bioavailability and low anti-nutrients. Because spirulina has minimal cellulose and plant anti-digestion fibers, your body can absorb the amino acids more cleanly with fewer losses. It also tends to generate less post-meal oxidative stress or inflammation compared to heavy meat meals. Additional benefits beyond pure protein. Spirulina is rich in antioxidants, phycocyanin, chlorophyll, and micronutrients, which help blunt the inflammatory response and oxidative damage that often blunts muscle repair in older adults. In other words, it not only delivers building blocks, it improves the environment into which those blocks go. What the research shows, the 2023 human study tracked markers of muscle protein synthesis, MPS, after ingestion of algae-derived protein and found it nearly matched the response from animal-based proteins under some conditions. Reviews of alternative protein sources, plants, algae, fungi, emphasize that algae, spirulina, etc., are among the most promising candidates for sustainable high anabolic potential proteins. An algae ingestion increases resting and exercise. 2023, researchers evaluated how algae protein affects muscle recovery and protein synthesis in animal models, suggesting improved incorporation into muscle tissue. The broader literature on aging and protein recommends that older adults aim for at least 1.0-1.2 g body weight of protein daily, ideally split over meals to maintain lean mass. Now, you may be thinking, spirulina? Isn't that a supplement powder? How do I use it practically? Let me walk you through an actionable protocol and caveats. How to use spirulina as a muscle tool. Here's a step-by-step habit you can build, layered into your daily rhythm. Morning protein boost. In your breakfast smoothie or yogurt bowl, add 2-3 grams of spirulina. Start low. Combine with other protein, Greek yogurt, whey, or plant-based to hit your target 25-30 grams per meal. The spirulina adds a concentrated amino acid pulse without much volume. Post-workout or midday option. After light resistance or walking sessions, take another 2-3 g of spirulina with water or juice, no high sugar. This gives your muscles an extra amino acid push while insulin is mildly elevated and receptive. Evening or pre-sleep with caution. Option. Some research supports a 30-40 g pre-sleep protein feed to sustain overnight muscle repair in older adults. MDPI. If you choose to use spirulina here, keep it small, no more than 3-4 g, and pair it with a small fat protein buffer like nut butter to avoid glucose spikes. Cycle, use, and observe response. Because spirulina is so nutrient dense, use it in cycles, e.g. 5 days on, 2 days off. Monitor markers, muscle fullness, morning stiffness, strength and daily tasks. Adjust dose upward only if digestion remains comfortable. Caveats, mistakes, and what to watch. Quality matters. Only use reputable tested spirulina, free from heavy metals, contamination. Poor quality algae can carry toxins. Don't overdo the taste, and digestion limits matter. Many people can't tolerate high doses at first. Build gradually. Pair with resistance or movement. Spirulina doesn't force muscle growth by itself. It's an amplifier. Without mechanical stimulus, extra protein will have limited effect. Balance with other protein sources. Use spirulina as a booster, not your only protein. Continue whole food proteins, fish, eggs, legumes for micronutrients, fat, and texture variety. Watch kidney and liver status. If you have constraints there, e.g., CKD, hepatic issues, moderate overall protein load, and check with a clinician. Let me repeat the key takeaway. Spirulina isn't a magical fix, but it is one of the rare whole food proteins that can outperform eggs in usable anabolic value, especially when your body is less efficient, because it gives you a high density, complete amino acid signal with anti inflammatory support. It helps tilt the balance toward muscle preservation in a metabolic environment that often resists it after 60. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post science driven, actionable strategies like this regularly to help you rebuild strength, metabolism, and longevity naturally. If there's one concept that completely changes how your body uses protein, especially after 60, it's timing. You can eat the perfect foods, but if you eat them at the wrong time, your muscles can't use them efficiently. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, something called anabolic resistance develops. Think of it as your muscles becoming hard of hearing to protein. The signal that once said build, repair, grow now sounds faint. So the same breakfast that used to maintain your muscle in your 40s may no longer do the job in your 60s unless you change the timing and composition of that meal. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscles as construction sites. You need two things: the workers' amino acids from protein, the signal that tells them to start building insulin, growth factors, and mechanical tension from movement. When these two arrive together, muscle protein synthesis, MPS, happens efficiently. But when amino acids arrive hours before or after the signal, the workers just wait around and the repair never begins. That's why when you eat protein is just as important as how much you eat. The three key windows for muscle repair. Tech 1, the morning activation window. Most people over 60 eat a light breakfast, coffee, toast, maybe fruit, but overnight your body has been fasting for 10-12 hours. Cortisol rises in the morning to mobilize energy, and your muscles are in a mild catabolic. That's why the first 2 hours after waking are a golden window for turning that catabolism off. Ishin, morning protocol. Aim for 25-30 grams of high quality protein in your first meal. Combine fast absorbing protein like eggs, Greek yogurt, or a whey spirulina blend with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil or avocado to sustain absorption. Include electrolytes or a pinch of salt. Sodium helps amino acids enter muscle tissue more efficiently. What the research shows. A 2023 review in Frontiers in Nutrition found that older adults who consumed at least 30 protein in their first meal had significantly higher daily muscle protein synthesis than those who ate the same total protein spread out unevenly. In other words, your breakfast can literally determine how your muscles behave all day. 2, the post-exercise rebuild window. Here's where most people go wrong. They walk, lift, or do resistance bands, then wait hours to eat. That's a wasted opportunity. After exercise, your muscles are like sponges, insulin sensitivity rises, blood flow increases, and amino acid uptake is up to 3 times higher than baseline for about 2 hours. Efficient post-workout protocol. Within 30-60 minutes after any resistance or brisk walking session, take 20-40 grams of protein, depending on body size. Add 5-10 grams of carbohydrates like a handful of berries or half a banana. This small insulin response amplifies the anabolic signal. Add anti-inflammatory support, spirulina, 2,3-G, turmeric, or omega-3s to reduce oxidative stress and speed repair. Research published in Nutrients 2024 found that older adults combining protein with light carbohydrate post-exercise maintained muscle mass 18% better than protein alone. The small insulin rise helps amino acids enter muscle cells faster, but without fat gain. Renal 3, the pre-sleep maintenance window. Nighttime is when your body performs most of its repair, including muscle rebuilding. Yet from dinner to breakfast, many people go 12 hours without amino acid support. For a 60-year-old, that's too long. As that evening protocol, 30-60 minutes before bed, have a slow digesting protein like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or casein. For plant-based options, use 2,3-G spirulina mixed with unsweetened almond milk or added to your nighttime shake. Avoid large carbohydrate loads before bed. Insulin spikes here can suppress growth hormone release, which is essential for overnight repair. The 2023 meta-analysis in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that pre-sleep protein supplementation enhanced overnight muscle protein synthesis in older adults without impairing sleep or glucose control. This effect was most pronounced when combined with daytime resistance training. The ideal daily rhythm, simplified. Time. Goal. Protein target. In notes. 798. Break catabolism. 20 eggs cause spirulina. 12. Maintain anabolic state. Red. Lean fish or lent for the post-activity recovery. 30. Whey pie fruit or spirulina shake. Intent overnight repair. To meet with casein or Greek yogurt. The big picture, protein timing is not about eating more, it's about using more. When you time your protein with your body's natural anabolic windows, morning, post-workout, and pre-sleep, you send the clearest signal possible, build muscle, stay strong, and keep metabolism alive. If this breakdown is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post practical, science-backed ways to rebuild strength, protect the metabolism, and age with power naturally. Next, we'll go into section 5, the hidden hormone that controls muscle preservation and how to fix it naturally. We'll uncover how insulin, cortisol, and growth hormone interact to either build or waste muscle after 60. Most people think muscle loss after 60 is purely a nutrition issue, but the truth is it's a hormonal issue first. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As you age, your hormones, particularly insulin, cortisol, and growth hormone, start working against your muscle instead of for it. And if you don't fix this underlying hormonal imbalance, no amount of protein or workouts will make a lasting difference. Let's start with the biggest player, insulin. The insulin muscle paradox. Most people associate insulin with blood sugar, but few realize that insulin is also a muscle-building hormone. In healthy metabolism, small, well-timed insulin spikes, for example, after a balanced meal, actually help amino acids enter your muscle cells, turning on the build signal. But here's the problem. With age and years of high-carb eating, snacking, and late-night meals, your body often develops insulin resistance. Think of insulin as a key. When you're young, that key fits perfectly into your muscle cells' locks, letting nutrients in. But after decades of high sugar and stress, those locks become rusty. Insulin can't open the door anymore, so nutrients like glucose and amino acids can't enter your muscles efficiently. Instead, insulin shuttles excess energy into fat storage, especially around the belly. And your muscles, they starve, weaken, and shrink. That's why you can be eating enough protein even more than before, yet still lose strength and tone. The key is not to lower insulin to zero. That would block muscle growth, but to restore insulin sensitivity. Ixpad, how to restore insulin sensitivity and reignite muscle growth. Here's what the research shows works best for people over intermittent fasting. 12-16. The 2024 study in nutrients found that time-restricted eating, especially a 16-8 pattern, improved insulin sensitivity by up to 25% in older adults within 8 weeks, even without calorie restriction. Fasting allows insulin levels to drop, clearing those locks, so they respond better when you eat. The result, when you finally eat protein, it gets used for muscle, not stored as fat. Strength training, pod walking. Muscles are the largest insulin-sensitive organ in your body. Even light resistance training 3 by per week increases GLUT4, the glucose transporter that helps insulin pull nutrients into muscle. Think of it as oiling the hinges of a rusty lock. Movement restores responsiveness. Add magnesium and chromium. Both minerals enhance insulin's effectiveness. Aim for 300-400 magnesium glycinate daily and 200 chromium picolinate with food. These small additions help lower fasting glucose and improve amino acid uptake. Time carbohydrates strategically. Carbs are not your enemy. Timing is. Keep your carbs post-workout when insulin sensitivity is naturally higher. That way you get energy where you need it. Muscle without spiking fat storage. Do the cortisol growth hormone connection. Now let's talk about the second major factor, cortisol, your stress hormone. Cortisol is catabolic, meaning it breaks down tissue for energy. When cortisol stays elevated from poor sleep, chronic stress, or overtraining, your body literally dismantles muscle to keep your blood sugar stable. To make things worse, high cortisol suppresses growth hormone, GH, the hormone that stimulates nighttime repair and fat burning. So if you're waking up tired, craving sugar, or storing belly fat despite eating clean, cortisol may be the hidden culprit. Here's how to fix it naturally. Prioritize 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Growth hormone is released in the first deep sleep cycle. Miss that window, and you miss your best chance for overnight repair. Eat your last meal 3 hours before bed. Late night eating spikes insulin, which suppresses GH release. Add magnesium, L-theanine, or chamomile tea before bed. These calm the nervous system and lower nighttime cortisol. A 2023 study in Frontiers in Endocrinology found that participants who practice pre-bed relaxation routines, like slow breathing or guided meditation, had 20% higher growth hormone output overnight compared to controls. 2. The big picture. Your hormones are the managers of your metabolism. Protein and exercise are the workers. If your managers are confused over worked insulin, elevated cortisol, suppressed GH, your workers can't build anything. Fixing these hormones flips the script. Insulin becomes a builder again. Cortisol drops, allowing repair instead of breakdown. Growth hormone rises naturally, repairing muscle as you sleep. So the root cause of age-related muscle loss isn't just low protein, it's poor hormonal timing and sensitivity. When you eat the right foods at the right times and restore your hormonal balance, your body remembers how to build again. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to subscribe because these are the exact systems we teach you to reset naturally and for life. Next, we'll explore section 6, the anti-inflammatory advantage, how to stop silent muscle erosion at the cellular level, where you'll learn how chronic inflammation blocks muscle repair even when diet and hormones are perfect. Most people think muscle loss after 60 is just about aging, but here's the truth. It's not age that breaks down your muscles, it's inflammation. And the worst part, you may not even feel it. Low-grade chronic inflammation, what scientists call inflammaging, quietly erodes your muscle tissue, disrupts hormonal signals, and blocks nutrient absorption even when your diet looks perfect. Let's look at what's really happening inside your body. When inflammation rises, your immune system releases molecules called cytokines like TNF alpha, IL-6, and CRP. These are meant to protect you, but when they stay elevated for months or years, they interfere with your muscle's ability to respond to growth signals. Think of your muscle cells as builders trying to construct new tissue. Inflammation is like pouring sand into their gears. Everything slows down, repair becomes inefficient, and over time, you lose more muscle than you build. This is why you can be eating clean, exercising, and still feel weaker. Your body isn't ignoring your efforts, it's fighting inflammation behind the scenes. Except the science of inflammaging. Research has shown that even mild elevations in inflammatory markers directly correlate with reduced muscle mass and strength in older adults. A 2024 study published in the Journal of Gerontology, Medical Sciences, found that seniors with the highest CRP, C-reactive protein levels, lost muscle up to 35% faster than those with low CRP, regardless of protein intake or activity levels. So if you're losing strength despite doing everything right, inflammation is likely the missing piece. The good news, you can reverse it naturally. Step 1, repair your gut, where inflammation begins. Nearly 70% of your immune system sits in your gut. When your gut barrier becomes leaky from processed foods, sugar, alcohol, or chronic stress, bacterial toxins leak into the bloodstream, triggering immune responses that raise inflammation system-wide. Let me explain with an analogy. Imagine your gut as a coffee filter. When it's intact, it lets only clean liquid, nutrients through. But if the filter tears, grounds, toxins and undigested particles leak into the pot, your body reacts to those grounds with inflammation, especially in muscles, joints, and brain. Awesome gut repair protocol. Eliminate refined seed oils and sugar. They fuel gut inflammation. Add prebiotics like green bananas, garlic, or asparagus to feed good bacteria. Include probiotics, Greek yogurt, kefir, or fermented foods like sauerkraut. Drink bone broth or collagen peptides to support the gut lining. Within 2-3 weeks, most people notice reduced bloating, joint stiffness, and better muscle recovery. All signs inflammation is dropping. Step 2, eat anti-inflammatory proteins and polyphenols. Not all proteins behave the same. Some, like processed meats or high omega-6 poultry, trigger inflammation. Others, like fatty fish, eggs, spirulina, and lentils, reduce it. Spirulina, for instance, is rich in phycocyanin, a natural compound shown in a 2023 Nutrients Review to inhibit the same inflammatory pathways targeted by NSAIDs, but without side effects. That's part of why it's emerging as one of the best muscle-preserving superfoods for older adults. Aussies add these daily: spirulina, 2 to 3 grams a day, fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, blueberries, pomegranates, green tea, turmeric, olive oil, all rich in antioxidants that calm cytokines. Remember, the goal isn't to kill inflammation. You need some for recovery, but to bring it back into balance so your muscle tissue can respond again. Shinda step 3, lower inflammation through recovery. Inflammation isn't only about diet, it's also about recovery. If you're constantly training, stressed, or sleeping poorly, your body can't shut off the inflammatory response needed to repair. Sleep, for example, is when your immune system shifts from attack mode to repair mode. Missing even one night of deep sleep raises CRP by up to 20%, according to Sleep Medicine Reviews 2020. One Evan, lifestyle anti-inflammatory tools. Sleep 7-8 hours with a consistent bedtime. Movement 30-45 minutes of walking daily to clear inflammatory molecules. Cold exposure or sauna enhances circulation and reduces oxidative stress. Mindfulness 10 minutes of slow breathing can lower IL-6 levels measurably. The bottom line: inflammation is the silent thief of muscle and metabolism. It blocks protein absorption, lowers insulin sensitivity, and sabotages growth hormone release, all the pillars of muscle preservation. And then when you control inflammation through gut repair, nutrient timing, and recovery, your body starts listening to your protein again. Muscle repair speeds up, energy rises, and the aches and stiffness that felt like aging start to fade. So don't just chase more protein, chase better recovery, less inflammation, and metabolic calm. If this was helpful so far, subscribe. I post new research-backed strategies every day to help you rebuild strength, energy, and longevity naturally. Next, we'll move into section 7, the nighttime repair system. How sleep and amino acid timing rebuild muscle while you rest, where you'll learn how to turn your sleep into your most powerful anabolic tool. If there's one secret that separates people who maintain their muscle after 60 from those who lose it, it's what happens while they sleep. You see, your body doesn't build muscle in the gym or while you eat, it builds muscle at night during deep restorative sleep. And yet, most people sabotage this powerful repair window without realizing it. Here's what's really going on inside your body. During the first few hours of deep sleep, your brain shifts from day mode, thinking, moving, digesting, into night mode, a state where growth hormone GH surges, tissue repair begins, and amino acids from your evening meal get funneled directly into rebuilding muscle fibers. But this process is fragile. Even small disruptions, like late night eating, blood sugar spikes, alcohol, or poor sleep hygiene, can completely shut down growth hormone release for the night. Let's unpack how to turn your sleep into a muscle building tool again. In step 1, trigger growth hormone before bed. Growth hormone is like your body's natural repair signal. It peaks within the first 90 minutes of deep sleep, but only if insulin is low and blood sugar is stable. That means one of the simplest muscle building strategies after stop eating 3 hours before bed. Here's why. When insulin is high from carbs or late night snacks, your brain suppresses GH production. You might still sleep, but your repair signal never fully activates. Evening protocol. Finish dinner by 7:30 p.m. if bedtime is around 10. Avoid dessert, alcohol, or large carb portions late at night. Hydrate gently, but avoid heavy fluids right before bed. Add magnesium glycinate, 200-300 nibres, to relax your nervous system and lower cortisol. A 2023 study in Frontiers in Endocrinology showed that adults who stopped eating 3 hours before sleep had 35% higher nighttime GH release than those who ate closer to bedtime, even when total calories were identical. Step 2, use slow digesting proteins overnight. Here's something few people realize. You don't need to eat a lot of protein before bed. You need the right kind. Fast proteins like whey or eggs digest quickly. Great for post-workout recovery, but they burn through your bloodstream in about 2 hours. Slow digesting proteins like casein, Greek yogurt, or spirulina release amino acids slowly throughout the night, keeping your muscles nourished until morning. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine filling a bathtub with water, amino acids. Fast proteins are like turning on the tap full blast. You fill it quickly, but it overflows and drains fast. Slow proteins are like a steady trickle. Your muscles stay full and hydrated all night long. Excellent nighttime protein ideas. Half cup Greek yogurt or cottage cheese before bed. 1 teaspoon of spirulina powder in unsweetened almond milk. Or 20-25 gram of micellar casein shake. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2024 found that consuming 25 g of casein protein 30 or 60 minutes before sleep boosted overnight muscle protein synthesis by 22% in older adults without affecting fat gain or sleep quality. Step 3, build an anabolic sleep environment. You can't rebuild muscle in chaos. Your nervous system must switch from fight or flight sympathetic to rest and repair parasympathetic. Here's how to create a muscle building sleep environment. Thing, lower body temperature, a cool room, 65-68 FIFAF, signals your brain to enter deep sleep faster. Dorson's eye necklace. And silence, even dim light, suppresses melatonin, which coordinates GH release. Action, mind calmers, try slow nasal breathing or 5 minutes of gratitude journaling, both lower cortisol, allowing GH to rise. And no screens for 60 minutes before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin by up to 80%, reducing GH output. It's not just about getting sleep. It's about hormonal quality of sleep. Step 4, sync your sleep and protein timing. Let's bring this full circle. If you finish dinner by 7 p.m., take your slow digesting protein around 9:30 and sleep by 10, you enter deep sleep by 11 p.m. with stable blood sugar, low cortisol, and a steady amino acid supply. That combination triggers maximum growth hormone, insulin sensitivity, and muscle repair. Over weeks, your body begins to shift. You wake up lighter, stronger, and more energized, not because of supplements, but because your physiology is finally aligned with your natural repair cycle. The big picture, your sleep is not just rest, it's your nightly regeneration cycle. The food you eat, the timing you choose, and the environment you create either amplify that cycle or block it. When you fix your nighttime routine, you unlock one of nature's most powerful anti-aging tools, growth hormone-driven repair. If you found this helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post practical, research-based ways to rebuild strength, energy, and longevity naturally. Next, we'll explore Section 8, the complete muscle rebuild blueprint, how to combine food, timing, and lifestyle into one simple daily system, where I'll tie everything together into a realistic action plan anyone over 60 can follow.